Henry, you holding up? Yeah, of course he is. It's Henry. Henry always holds up. Okay, we got 2 more to go. Let's just get it over with because I am reaching my limit. Experimental containment unit is the next one. God, they just don't want to give me a... This is the one where, like... this is the one reading where there's a lot of confusing SCPs, and they will keep giving me middle length one. Still kind of here, even though I'm phasing in and out of consciousness. I know, we're almost done. We're almost done. Euclid. Experimental containment unit 6852 shall be provided in additional power and coolness necessary to prevent breach. Next time, my man, just... you need to get more hours of sleep. A 2 MW power plant is currently under construction on site by be dedicated solely to ECU 6852 and it's projected to be adequate for another 10 years. ECU 6852 is composed of 4 elements: the core, the gyroscope, the bath, and the superstructure. The central element of the core is a seamless spherical shell of an aluminium alloy, 12 mm thick, of radius 1.63 meters or 1.63 meters. The shell was centrifugally cast around a robotic tool which annealed and polished the interior surface to a reflectivity of 2017 GLU before self-disposing via data reducted, which also evacuated the interior atmosphere to 0.5 BPA, calculated indirectly from the contraction of the aluminum shell under external pressure. Gloss units, okay. Surrounding the alloy shell is a buffer of 654 concentric graphene shells, each one atom thick. In this configuration, it provides the highest tensile strength of any manufactured material to date and acts as a perfect rational bearing, allowing the innermost sphere to remain at rest or to rotate about any axis at any speed independent of the gyroscope. The core is enclosed within the gyroscope a shell of ultra-polished fused silica, 2 cm thick, weighing 60.5 kilograms, assembled from 2 hemispheres and plated on its interior surface with 7 nanometers of niobium. The gyro is hydrodynamically suspended in a superfluid helium-4 bath at 1.95 K and rotates in a plane parallel to the surface of the Earth. Clockwise as viewed from above. At its temperature, the niobium is superconducting. As it rotates, it induces a magnetic field. The bath is housed and circulated within the superstructure, a cylindrical duo of depleted uranium with magnetic drives, mag drives, for accelerating and braking the gyro, a separate insulated reservoir, plumbing, instrumentation, and controls to provide circulation of 2.5 milliliters of total coolant. Authorized personnel may refer to document ECU 6852S. Welcome 2 to 4 for complete schematics. Theory of operation. The reflective surface of the innermost shell suppresses. Was this all like containment? That was all containment. Shell suppresses incident radiation across a wide frequency range via interference. Previous research demonstrates that quantum defects throughout the graphene lattices within the core occur naturally and self-repair spontaneously within the gyroscope magnetic field. The calculations suggest that the graphene shells can be treated as a composite materials in a metastable state with a mean of 10 to the power of 5 plus minus 10 to the power of 3. Defects as its current temperature and pressure At 70K, comparable graphene samples were strong enough to contain sustained pressure of 18 MPa and the impulse of 4.2 GPa msec as the temperature is reduced to strength increasing exponentially. This one and the Green Acres, they're trying to be so highly scientific, like it's so hard to keep up with what the hell is being said to me right now. During the design phase, the containment unit was projected to consume 13.75 kilowatts to maintain systems in a standby state between breach attempts by any SCP within. When active, the bulk of the energy expended by any attempt to breach containment from within will be subsumed by the vacuum uncertainty resulting from the tremendous London moment of the superconducting field. The remaining fraction will be converted to heat in the helium bath. For an arbitrary impulse of energy, this conversion occurs on the order of 100 picoseconds. The resilience of the containment device is limited only by the attainable flow rate, which is maintained automatically on the size of the coolant's reservoir so long as the helium remains in the superfluid state. Maximum flow rate is far superior to that of other cryogenic coolants, below 2.17 K. The prototype is rated up to 100 kilowatts of power consumption and has 10 times the coolant necessary for operation and maximum power. In the worst case scenario, using all the coolant and power resources reasonably available in the Foundation, the device is theoretically capable of containing plasma on the order of FTP 10 to the power of minus 15 times the Planck temperature, or about 10 to the power 17 K. And physical force is approaching 50% of the Chandrasekhar inversion limit. As a baseline based on the metrics taken from its current containment procedures and history of breaches, indefinite containment of an entity comparable to SCP-076 should require about 17 kilowatts at most. As the device was designed as a proof of concept prototype, no particular attention was paid to how an SCP would actually be placed into the core. It was assumed this could be engineered into a later version of the device. The description is: SCP-1718 is an energetic anomaly that arose during a project managed by the ECRG to explore the limits of containment science. Experimental Containment Research Group Project Timeline. From January to October 2009, ECRG conducted computational simulation, sample fabrication, and prototyped elements of the device. December 2, 2009, ECRG submits a proposal 6852 and containment system to the O5 Research Subcommittee, Drs. Andrews and Hadley, principal investigators. February 23, 2010, proposal 6852 is approved and funded. March 15, construction of the core begins in Bay 22 at Site 6. May, project timeline is accelerated by 3 months when ionic sonication techniques for the deposition of the graphene are mastered ahead of schedule, allowing for the addition of a new layer every 4 hours. November 7, the gyroscope is assembled at 111K. It is cooled to 77K over the next 33 days. February 2nd, 2011, construction is halted for 3 weeks due to industrial accidents while casting the DUR. 4 staff are killed, including Dr. Hadley. August 5th, the superstructure is complete. The gyro is assembled into a DUR using liquid nitrogen at 76K as the initial coolant. September 1st, coolant temperature 65K, hydrodynamic rotation of the gyroscope initiation at 0.3 RPM. October 31st, coolant at 9.3K, rotation 52 rounds per minute, RPM. Niobium makes superconducting transition and the core becomes impervious to most sensors. January 2nd, 2012, coolant at 8K, rotation 72 RPM. The MAC drives are first engaged to assist hydrodynamic acceleration of the gyro. February 6th, coolant at 7K, rotation 104 RPM. A significant seismic event in the vicinity of Site 12 causes the rupture of a separate system condensing helium-4 for future use. One assistant researcher is killed. 2 staff are seriously injured. The gyro is stable throughout the event and it is in its aftershocks. May 17th. Core rotation 112 RPM, temperature stabilized at 5.2 K, while staff initiate the replacement of nitrogen coolant with helium. October 18th, helium at sufficient purity to resume cooling, 114 RPM. January 3rd, 2013, helium reaches 2.17 K and transitions to a frictionless superfluid state. As predicted, hydrodynamic acceleration no longer functions. Once the bath becomes superfluid, the mag drives were used to accelerate the gyro over 24 hours to the target. 115,000 RPM. The process completed 57 minutes earlier than predicted, but otherwise without incident. The coolant temperature was further reduced to 1.6 K to provide a safety margin. At this rate of rotation, relativistic effects cause a special case of the dynamical Casimir effect to arise between the opposing points of the nubium shell bombarding the core with reducted per design, completing the containment protocol. Instrumentation evidenced power, temperature, and gyroscopic stability at least 2 orders of magnitude better than its design tolerance, near or beyond the sensitivity of most of the instrumentation. On February 1st, in the wake of an unrelated or cognito hazard event, Dr. Andrews was administered a Class B amnestic to save his life. He necessarily lost about 5 years of memories, including all knowledge of Project 6852, though quickly he re-immersed in the project documentation and retained by his former subordinates. I'm losing my mind. He recovered no particular proficiency for the science and engineering techniques he proficiently pioneered, and expressed profound disbelief of the plausibility of several key components of the design of the containment unit system. In the original project plan, the ECU was scheduled to burn in for 90 days in light of the fact that the research team had effectively lost both of its principal investigators. The containment tests were deemed successful and the activation of the device was initially early on February 8th. After 35 days of nominal operation, the plan called for 5 days mag drive spin down at a constant temperature to 0.3 RPM at 1.6 K, followed by a 4 months warm up to 77 K, whereupon the core would be dismantled and inspected for stress and spallation defects. 7 hours after mag drives were reversed, no significant slowing of the gyro could be detected. A diagnostic test of the squids that monitored rotation revealed a calibration drift had occurred and suggested that the gyro was likely spinning far faster than expected. In his first insight since amnestic treatment, Dr. Andrews realized that the Coriolis effect, neglected in the original design analysis, had been freely accelerating the frictionless gyro for over a month. However, there was a significant disagreement between the research assistants as to whether or not this was a sound application of basic physics. If true points along the surface of the gyro were calculated to have a speed approaching 0.1 c, in the direction of the O5 research subcommittee, the strength of the mag drives were eventually increased 100-fold in an attempt to slow rotation. After 55 hours of continuous braking, the recalibrated squids were able to detect the rotation speed slowing through 352,000 rounds per minute. 17 hours later, as the rotation speed slowed to 153,000 RPM, close to original speed, design speed, an unexpected and unexplained flow of heat into the helium bath was detected. Automated system compensated as intended, increasing total power draw, neglecting the magnetic drives from 13.74 kilowatts to 14.15 kilowatts, and preventing any rise in temperature. The strength of the mag drives was immediately reduced to originally planned levels. Over the course of the next hour, as the magnetic drive slowed the gyroscope to 152,000 RPM, slightly above the original target rate, power draw climbed to 14.89 kilowatts. Though small, the 1.15 kilowatt difference in draw power theoretically corresponds to a sustained explosive force of over a kiloton of TNT within the core. In an abundance of caution, the mag thrust were adjusted to hold the rotation rate steady at 152,000 RPM in order to allow further study without risking breach. Since then, the power necessary for stabilization has continued to climb at about 500 watts per day. If the design theory is correct, the current level of power draws implies forces of or temperatures within the core equivalent to 0.7 megatons of continuous explosive force. Addendum A, ECRG proposal 6987, a 1/10th scale research model of ECU 6852 is attached. Doctors Andrews and Smenk, principal investigators. Addendum B, proposal 6987 is hereby rejected. Regarding the prototype, the Foundation will do what is best at ECU. It's best at ECU 6852 is hereby designated SB1718. Let's move on to the O5 Research Subcommittee. It's a shame because, like, I'm pretty sure if I could understand a lot of this, it would be a lot more impressive to me, a lot more like cool. But because I just do not understand that. All that talk just made me my brain melt. Like, I understand that the SCP Foundation has a way for science nerds to come in and show off and connect with people who like that kind of stuff. But for anybody who just wants to have a casual read, that shit is impossible. Because at the end, all I kind of understood is that it seems to be like a drill that is very cold, and it fluctuates between how fast it goes at it. It's at the end, like, trying to explain it again. I'm just dumbfounded. I don't know what I just read. Same thing with Green Acres, like Imperfect Life Extender, Online Friend, even like the posthumous physicist and mechanical curiosity was like, it started off confusing, but then like it made sense. Green Acres and Experimental Containment Unit both started off confusing and didn't really like give me a aha moment at the end. I just felt like more like I have no idea what I'm reading, which is a shame because like I'm pretty sure for a lot of people these two mean a lot more than to me.